I'd travel to the ends of the earth to find this thing. Nah, just kidding. I bought it at the Zelda concert. Okay, take a look at this boss fight. Yeah, the action looks great, but it feels like it's missing something. Now here's another boss fight from that same game, but with music. Feels a lot more complete now, does it? True, I've always been the kind of person who values gameplay above all else, but the right music can go a long way in terms of making moments in video games more memorable. Whether it's setting the mood of a stage, making boss fights 10 times more epic, or something as mundane as going shopping. Goodness knows the Sora's speakers need to play something. But hey, as much as we'd love it if notes could just come together randomly and write a symphony, we gotta face the facts. Music doesn't write itself. Even Vocaloids have people write the songs that come out of their virtual mouths. In other words, composers have a really important job. They might not get the same recognition as classical icons like Bach and Beethoven, but they work to create a big part of the atmosphere of the game. The music they write can literally be the difference between an epic moment and... Yeah, can we just start, please? It's game time! And time to readjust my ears, yikes. Rareware, now well a shell of its former self, was the absolute shit back in the day. And their music was no exception, mainly coming off the pens of two people in particular. And while it was difficult choosing between the two, I honestly felt that the music of David Wise just stuck with me more. Wise's style of music combines environmental sounds with a distinct style of melodies and percussional backing. His first credits were on the old NES title Slalom, and he would later compose for games such as Wizards and Warriors, RC Pro-Am, and the infamous Battletoads. Despite the variety in titles he composed for during his NES days, you can find some distinctive similarities in the songs in these games. However, most people who know the music of David Wise know him for his work on the Donkey Kong Country games. From the classic Jungle Hijinks theme, to the tranquil mood of Aquatic Ambiance, to the laid-back Sticker Brush Symphony, to the beauty of In a Snowbound Land, to the climactic battles with K. Rool, David's music brought a manner of atmosphere to these games that otherwise might have been lost. So much so that even after he left Rare to go freelance, he was brought on board years later to help compose for Tropical Freeze. Hearing his old works remastered really brought some special life to the game. I'd say it was a wise decision on Nintendo's part. With a series like Mega Man that spans so many different platforms and generations, with plenty of kick-ass tunes across them all, picking one composer was no small feat. But I eventually settled on Ippo Yamada, who, while having been a sound designer for Capcom, did the bulk of his composing as a founding member of Inti Creates. The first game he actually composed for was Inti's first game, an obscure Japanese PS1 title named Speed Power Gunbike. His real big break as a composer, however, came with the Mega Man Zero series. Yamada used the sound font to skillfully emulate a variety of instruments, most notably guitar, but also piano and even chanting on occasion. He has a way of making the music fit the mood of the situation brilliantly, making action-filled stages sound charged with adrenaline such as Departure in Zero 2, villains sound ominous such as Curse of Vile in Zero 3, and boss battles even more exciting such as Cannonball from Zero 3 and Falling Down from Zero 4. He would carry on his style to the Mega Man ZX games, as well as contributing to Mega Man 9 and 10. After Inti became fully independent, he continued his work with them on games such as Astro Striker Gunvolt, whose techno themes contribute to the futuristic motif of the game and its sequel, and the recent retro revival Blaster Master Zero, complete with its classic chiptune style. He's also made several arrangement soundtracks that Inti has published, which speaks to his skills as a musician. With talent like that, he could have easily gone into the record industry. Glad he didn't, though. This next candidate comes from personal experience. Having worked alongside Jake Kaufman during my time in the gaming industry, I can honestly say that he's not only one of the best composers in the biz, but also one of the coolest guys to be around. But as much as I'd like to reminisce about being buds with him, let's stick to what's relevant. Jake first broke into the industry in 2000, composing for a Game Boy Color port of Q*bert, but his freelance composing career really took off in 2002, composing for games such as the Shantae series, Double Dragon Neon, DuckTales Remastered, the Mighty Switch Force games, and the indie sensation that is Shovel Knight. Jake's style of composing can adapt to a lot of different styles to fit the theme of the stages he's making music for, like the rocking tunes of Double Dragon Neon, which is so 80s that it hurts so good. But there are two styles in particular in which he excels. For one, his skill with electronica is top-notch. His electronic themes are packed with energy and just make you want to dance. Heck, anyone who can take the DuckTales Moon theme and make it even better deserves credit. He's even really good at blending it with other styles, such as with the Middle Eastern style tunes of the Shantae series. The other style which Kaufman is known for is his chiptunes. Besides being the style in which he began, his skill with chiptunes is evident not only in his work on the amazing Shovel Knight soundtrack, but in his independent chiptune albums, of which he has a few. And yes, this is the same Jake Kaufman who did my intro theme, in case you're asking. Like the Mega Man series, Castlevania has a long and storied history, with some of the best soundtracks in gaming. And while the classic themes have their charm, my god do they have their charm, some of the series' best tracks came from Michiru Yamane. What we have here is a queen among composers, capable of fitting different genres to nearly any mood she's given. Over her career, she's worked with many different sound banks to create a unique style. For example, her work on Castlevania Bloodlines included themes that invoke moods of heroism such as Reincarnated Soul and Iron Blue Intention, themes that convey a sense of mystery such as Sinking Old Sanctuary, and suspenseful themes like the boss themes, all with the Genesis sound font. And her music has only gotten better as technology has improved. With the improved sound font technology of the PlayStation and PS2, she was able to create songs that not only fit the gothic themes of the franchise, but combined them with other styles to create something truly exciting, such as the many expertly crafted themes in Symphony of the Night, Lament of Innocence, and Curse of Darkness. In the latter two in particular, the level and boss themes feature driving melodies with solid percussion backing. And even when working on less powerful systems, i.e. handhelds like the GBA and DS, her style still carried over into some well-made stage themes such as Ruined Castle Corridor from Aria of Sorrow. More recently, she's contributed a few tracks to the soundtrack of Skullgirls, as well as the upcoming Bloodstained Ritual of the Night with the aforementioned Yamada and Kaufman. Considering what we've heard of the soundtrack so far, at least we can be confident that the music will be good. Let's hope the rest of the game follows suit. God knows that spiritual successors require the same love and care as their inspirations. The over-the-top antics of Platinum Games and the surge in popularity of Fire Emblem thanks to Awakening and Fates have a few things in common. One of those things being the music of Rei Kondo. One of the young guns of the art, Kondo is a composer with a thing for the dramatic. Games to his credit include the Okami games, the Bayonetta games, the Wonderful 101, and both Awakening and Fates. One of the things that this man excels at is being able to work with variety not just in moods, but with different styles of music. For example, listening to the soundtracks of the Okami games, you can tell a strong proficiency in traditional Japanese instrumentation, with tracks like the suspenseful Sacrificial Arrow, the mysterious Inside the Water Dragon, and the epic and triumphant Rising Sun. Moving to the Bayonetta games, a lot of his contributions incorporate the ever-versatile piano and the ever-dramatic inclusion of Latin choir, complementing the religious themes of the series. Some of the songs that best display that are the boss themes from both games. Case in point, You May Call Me Father, which is tense and furious for the fight with Baldur, and The Greatest Jubilee, which fits the grandiose battle with Jubileus to a T. Hell, the boss themes from the Wonderful 101 are full-stop space opera material. Jirginga Planet Destruction Form is actually one of my favorite boss themes of all time. Then there's Fire Emblem. Oh boy, is there Fire Emblem! For both Awakening and Fates, he had a lot to work with, and boy did he run with it. From the lighthearted, to the suspenseful, to the downright intense, his contributions covered the entire spectrum. Probably his best contribution to the soundtrack is the sorrowful masterpiece, Don't Speak Her Name. Chapter 10 Renewal was already sad enough, but the music made the mood 3 times more powerful. If you didn't feel at least something during that chapter, my guess is, you're as hardened as a Steelix's head. In regards to our next honoree, if you're not familiar with Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, or Atlas in general, well...
you'll never see it coming.
Yeah, it's safe to say that the worlds of these games just wouldn't be the same without the varied and entertaining music of Shoji Meguro. A composer for Atlas since 1995, Meguro can best be described as a mad scientist of music. While most of his work features a signature Japanese rock style, it's how he experiments with different styles such as electronica, jazz, J-pop, and even classical music that make his music truly his own. He's worked on several SMT games, and even some lesser-known Atlas titles such as Trauma Center and Catherine. But some of his best tracks come from Persona 3 onwards. The jazz/J-pop fusion present in Mass Destruction shows some nice fusion of styles and some catchy vocals. The final boss theme, Battle Hymn of the Soul, on the other hand, combines energizing rock with the series' leitmotif, Aria of the Soul, to create a sense that this is a fight against all odds that you cannot afford to lose. Persona 4's soundtrack continued to show Meguro's skill with blending genres. The town themes varied from nice jazzy themes such as Like a Dream Come True, to upbeat J-pop like Signs of Love, and battle themes ranging from the pop stylings of Reach Out to the Truth and Time to Make History, to I'll Face Myself, which is... what am I doing with my life? And how about Persona 5? If you like jazz, you've come to the right game for that. From the opening theme, Wake Up, Get Out There, to the catchy and meme-worthy battle theme, Last Surprise, to laid-back themes like Everyday Days. These soundtracks are the result of making styles work together to create the right formula for the right mood. Call it mad genius if you like, I just call it good music. Fighting games. I love them, even though I'm not that good at them, nor do I have the time to commit to getting really good, considering I'm balancing this channel with a 9-to-5 job. But I'm getting off track. At least I often get some awesome beats to go with the beatdowns, especially if the game in question is made by Arc System Works. And those in the loop know exactly who to thank for that. Daisuke Ishiwatari is arguably the most versatile person on this entire list. Composing, designing, illustrating, even voice acting, this guy can do it all, even make Julian fries. Or sushi maybe, I don't know. Again, let's stick to what's important here. Ishiwatari is best known as the guy responsible for the soundtracks to Arc Sys' two main fighting game series, those being Guilty Gear and BlazBlue. And if you've played those games, then you know that their music rocks harder than a max defense buffed shuckle. Daisuke is a specialist in rock and heavy metal, and his works prominently feature some serious guitar riffs. Sometimes it's played completely straight, such as the themes for characters like Soul Bad Guy and Ragnar the Blood Edge, the main protagonists of their respective series. But not only is he good at composing it straight up, he's also skilled at composing themes that combine rock with other styles to fit the personalities of the characters for whom he's writing themes. Samurai Babe Baiken, mix in some Japanese instrumentation to a base of rock, turn the oven to 350, and bake until golden brown. A royal hero like Kai Kisuke, make a marinade of regal violin. Werewolf Valkenhayn, season well with organ. A smooth criminal like Hazuma, take a cup of jazz piano and throw it in the blender and hit frappe. Or if there's an ominous boss fight on the cards, some ominous strings or even some chanting to make the recipe that much more imposing. It's a recipe for a full-course meal of righteous rock, and Ishiwatari makes quite the musical menu. Table for two, please. We'll be careful not to mess up the dining room too much. While the previous 7 composers deserve credit for what they've given to the world of video game music, these final 3 are the big ones, the holy trinity among video game composers. And by the same token that Michiru Yamane is a queen among composers, Yoko Shimomura is a goddess. One of the most famous composers in the business, Shimomura has been building a legacy for herself since the late 80s. Originally working for Capcom and having composed for games like Final Fight and Street Fighter II, she left in '93 to join Squaresoft so that she could compose classical-style themes for fantasy RPGs. This would eventually become the style that she would be best known for, particularly when she composed the soundtrack for Kingdom Hearts, a franchise she would be known for even after going freelance. Many themes throughout the franchise have a strong classical influence, particularly in the use of orchestra and piano throughout. This can be seen prominently in themes like Forza del Mal and Darkness of the Unknown. However, there are plenty of other themes in the series that show her skill with composing in other styles such as rock, electronica, oriental, and more, something that a series that takes place across several Disney-themed worlds would need to do. If you want examples, listen to the themes from the Grid and Dream Drop Distance or Hazardous Highway in Kingdom Hearts 2. This versatility also shows in another series she's known for, the Mario & Luigi RPGs. These soundtracks start out bouncy and lighthearted, but when shit gets real, especially in the final acts, they sound like they wouldn't be out of place in Kingdom Hearts. Compare Okie Dokie to the grand finale in Bowser's Inside Story, or Victory in the Dream World compared to Adventure's End in Dream Team. More recently, she's composed a lot of the music in Final Fantasy XV, and her style definitely shows there. The battle themes in particular definitely reflect the style Shimomura is known for. She's also composed for cult classics such as Xenoblade Chronicles and even lesser-known games such as Radiant Historia. According to Shimomura herself, she draws inspiration from anything that stirs her emotions. And that's what defines her style more than anything else. It's all about passion, my friends. Fucking duh. Okay, let me level with you for a second. If you grew up with Nintendo like I did, then whether you know it or not, you know the music of Koji Kondo. This man's a legitimate legend in video game music, having forged a legacy that few can match. A composer since 1983, Kondo is responsible for some of the most iconic and most memorable video game music themes of all time. While he got his start with the arcade version of Punch-Out, as well as a few games for the Famicom, in 1985 he would write the theme that would truly be his big break. One of the most famous themes in gaming history. Oh hi, Super Mario Brothers! If you people don't recognize this theme from the first few notes, then I really don't know what to say to you. That's how recognizable this song is. That would only be followed up by another iconic NES soundtrack a year later. Oh hi, Legend of Zelda! Kondo's music would become a staple of these two franchises for years to come. Throughout the Mario franchise, Kondo composed a lot of whimsical and playful themes for a variety of environments. The overworld themes for Super Mario 3 and Mario World are known for being light and fun. Underwater themes for the series were decidedly more peaceful, while ghost houses had appropriately spoopy music, and castles had imposing music to go with. Later games took his style further, with more environments and themes that fit them, like the Dry Desert in 64, Pianta Village in Sunshine, and the orchestral Joy of the Galaxy games. Meanwhile, in the Zelda series, his themes were equally special. Pretty much every Hyrule Field theme conveys a true sense of adventure. Temples are filled with themes that are rife with mystery, like the inside of the Deku Tree and Dragon Roost Island, and some themes, like the Stone Tower Temple and the Shadow Temple, are just downright creepy. Not to mention, his boss themes can be freaking epic! Among my favorite boss themes from Kondo include Ultimate Koopa from Super Mario 64 for its incredible organ, and the final battle against Ganon in Ocarina of Time. So, yeah, Koji Kondo's music has played a huge part of my gaming childhood and still supports Nintendo to this day. And for that, I raise a toast. Raise your glasses, people! Now before we move on, let's give some credit to a few honorable mentions. Jun Senoue for his work on the Sonic soundtracks of the modern era. Junichi Masuda, who brought music to the world of Pokemon. Grant Kirkhope, basically to 3D Rare what David Wise was to 2D Rare. Harry Gregson Williams, because Metal Gear! And Hideki Naganuma, who understands the concept of style. Do you hear that fanfare? It's the sound of wonder. The sound of high adventure. Brought to life by the musical genius of one man. Anyone who's familiar with the legacy of Nobuo Uematsu knows exactly why this man is legendary in the music of video games. For those of you who aren't, sit yourselves down and let me tell you why he's simply the greatest. With a resume that boasts consummate quantity and unbelievable quality, Uematsu has been compared to the likes of Beethoven and John Williams for his ability to make video game music worthy of symphonies and movie scores. Uematsu's career began as a composer for Squaresoft in 1985, and while his early works weren't so successful, it was in 1987 where he would work on the score to the game that would launch his legend, Final Fantasy. Over the course of his work on the series and beyond, he would compose themes in a wide variety of styles, from classical to metal to techno, resulting in soundtracks that touch upon the full spectrum of emotions. Themes of wonder, such as the iconic prelude of Final Fantasy. Themes of adventure, such as the main theme that has become one of the series' staples, as well as the triumphant victory fanfare. Themes of romance, such as the theme of love from Final Fantasy IV and Captivating Eyes from Final Fantasy IX. Themes of sadness, such as Tu Zanarkand from Final Fantasy X and Aerith's theme from Final Fantasy VII. Themes of despair, such as People Without Hope from Chrono Trigger. Lighthearted themes, such as the famous Chocobo Jingle. His battle themes have exceptional variety as well. The normal battle themes he's written are fast-paced and exciting, getting you pumped to take on monsters. He's also written boss themes that are tense and let you know the stakes have been raised. And his final boss themes are the stuff of legend, from the 4-part 16-bit masterpiece of Dancing Mad, to the epicness of One Winged Angel, and even work outside of Final Fantasy, such as The Seal is Broken from Blue Dragon. Uematsu's music has had a profound influence not only on gaming, but the world of music in general. He's been recognized as an innovator. He's been credited with helping people appreciate video game music. His music has been performed in concerts the world over. To put it simply, the music of Nobuo Uematsu exemplifies the value of music in video games. Not bad, for a man who started composing thinking it would be a side gig. I'm the Quarter Guy, and the next time you boot up your favorite game and take in the music, take a moment to appreciate the work that the composers put into that music. Because it adds a whole lot to the atmosphere of the game. They say music is the universal language. Sure says a lot more than generic grunts and yells. Okay, I have a few questions about Mega Man Legacy Collection 2. First off, why is there no Nintendo port? The 3DS had the first collection, for God's sakes. And why didn't they include Mega Man and Bass? I know it's not that good, but at least include it for completion's sake. Next time, Top 10 Least Favorite Robot Masters. It's game time!